Hello BookTube, my name is Adrian and welcome back to my channel. Today I am bringing you my TBR for the Winter Biannual Bibliothon. If you do not know what the Biannual Bibliothon is, I will link its channel down below, as well as links to all of the hosts for this readathon. Basically what this is a readathon that takes place twice a year, once in the winter time and once in the summertime, and it has 7 challenges and as well as 7 video challenges. I don't know that I'm going to be doing any of the video challenges just because I haven't had time to prep them, but there was one in particular that I think I may want to do, but we'll have to see if I get a chance to get it done. But there are 7 challenges. One of the challenges is to read a group book, so I will tell you about that more in a little bit. But let's go ahead and get into the books that I plan to read. First of all, I want to tell you that this readathon takes place from the 12th to the 18th. The 12th is tomorrow, Saturday, the day after this video should be going up. So if you are interested in participating, you still have some time to pick your TBR. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and get into the books that I am planning to read. So the first challenge is obviously to read the group book. The group book for this one is Empress of All Seasons by Emiko Jean, I believe is how you say her name. I do not know anything about this book and I don't know if I'm going to be able to read this one. I have it on request from my library, but I don't know if it's going to get here in time. I have it on request twice at my library, once for the ebook and once for the physical book. The ebook still says it has 20 days before it's going to get to me, but all that means is that one person is in front of me in line for it, and so if they return it before the readathon's over, I'll get it. I also have requests from the physical book, but I don't know when that will get to me. Hopefully it'll get to me before the readathon's over and I can read it, but if not, then I won't be doing that challenge. The next challenge is to read one of the host's 5-star books. I picked to read Pivot Point by Casey West. I don't remember whose favorite this was, but this is the one of their books that I have chosen to read. I love Casey West, and I have read this book. I think I gave it 3.5 or 4 stars last time I read it, but I gave it that rating because I was very confused and unable to follow along because I was listening to the audiobook. Well, I now have obtained my own physical copy, and so I'm hoping to reread it and kind of see if my opinion changes once I'm able to follow along with the timeline a little bit better. So I'm going to read this one for the host 5-star read. So this is the first book that I have picked myself. The next challenge is to read a book that got you into reading. For this one, I have picked Lily's Crossing by Patricia Riley Giff. This is a children's book that has won an award here. This book was one of the first books that I read as a kid that really got me into reading. That's why it's fitting this challenge. Basically, I am extremely dyslexic, and so in order to get me into reading, my mom basically had to trick me. So the way that, basically I am so severely dyslexic that my parents tried to pay me money, like actual real money as a child, to read a picture book. And I wouldn't do it because I couldn't read. I mean, it was bad. My reading was very, very poor. I believe it was in the 2nd grade. Second or 3rd grade. I was coming home from school and having my 1st grader brother read me some of my homework because I couldn't read it I was struggling to read. I could read, just not well. It was very, very hard for me to read, and so at a certain point, my mother made the decision to pull me and my siblings out of school because our school system was not helping me with my dyslexia. They were brushing me off as ADD, even though I had been diagnosed with dyslexia. They were kind of brushing me off, saying I didn't need any help, that I was just needed to sit down and be fine. My mother made the decision to pull us all out of school and homeschool us. Probably one of the best decisions my mother could have made for me as well as for my siblings. So when that happened, she took me to the library and she picked out a couple of books that had audiobooks, like cassette tape audiobooks. And she would have me sit down and listen to the audiobook while following along with the physical book with my finger. And that got me into reading. I discovered that reading was cool. It had a bunch of stories and there was so much to it. And because I was learning to sight read more, that I could look at a word and identify it very quickly, even, and kind of learning the context clues that you have to use sometimes when you're dyslexic. So this was one of those books. It was one of my favorite ones my mother ever picked. There were 3 books she picked for me that were like my favorite books that to this day I still remember very fondly for what she picked for me. This is the only one that I currently own a copy of, but this is the one that I picked for that. The next challenge for this readathon is to read an adult book, and for this one I have picked Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, I believe is the author of this. I know that this is an adult smutty romance book. I believe this book is about a couple that is a younger girl and a father of one of her friends, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. I know that this is a book that several other booktubers, including Jess from Peace Love Books, really loves this book. It's one of her favorites, and so I was able to get it on the Audible romance package, and so I decided to go ahead and read that, and it is an adult book, obviously. So that is the book I picked for this challenge. The next challenge is to combine your most favorite and your least favorite. So the idea of this challenge is that you're supposed to combine your most favorite book genre with your least favorite book format, or vice versa. So in my case, my most favorite book genre is, and also my most favorite like kind of format is audiobooks, and my least favorite book format is actually books told through text. It's one of my least favorite things. And so this next book I have is I Hate Everyone But You by some YouTubers. I don't remember who. From what I understand, this book is told mostly in text messages between 2 college-age students. And I have the audiobook of this. It is a contemporary, so those are 2 of my favorite things, but it is a book mostly told in texting, and I do not like that format. So I'm hoping that I will enjoy this book just because of the subject matter, as well as the fact that I'll be listening to it. So that is the book I have chosen for my most and least challenge. Up next is to read a book whose cover you do not like, and for this one I have Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. These are arguably some of the most cheesy covers for books. There's nothing about this cover that would really lead you to believe that it's about vampires other than the title. This was a thing for a while, to have just random people on the cover of books. I do not like these covers, and so I'm going to read this one. I have been wanting to reread this series before the end of the year, so I think this will be the first one that I pick up for my reread. And the last challenge is to read a new to you author. For this one I have chosen the book 7 Days of You by Cecilia Venice. This is a book that I just recently picked up. I have been wanting to read this author's other book, The Summer of Us, but I have never gotten around to it. I do not own it, but I now own this book, which sounds super interesting. It's a contemporary book about a girl who is traveling to Tokyo and is getting ready to travel home, and I believe she meets a boy like on the last day, and so this is a book that I'm really excited to read. It does also seem like it has some tropes in it that are some of my favorites, so this is the last book I have for this challenge, and I'm really excited to get to it. So there you go, guys. These are all of the books that I am planning to read for the Winter Biannual Bibliothon. I am very excited to get to all of these and hopefully be able to complete some of these challenges. I am also going to see about maybe doing some of the video challenges. We'll have to see. But yeah, that is all that I have for this video today, guys. Let me know down below if you are participating in the Biannual Bibliothon, if you filmed a TBR for this video. If you did, let me know so I can check it out. Also, if you have read any of these books, I would love to know what your thoughts were on them. So let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.